Okay, I'm back, and the next thing I'm going to do, I've got the mounting plate there in the bottom where all the electronics are going to go. Next thing I'm going to do is install the switch. Okay, now this switch, there's a hole in the side. There's even out here it says off and on, so you know which way to mount the switch. And this is the switch I'm going to use. So I'm using that switch because I'm also using telemetry, and every minute while I'm flying, the telemetry is going to report the battery voltage. If you do not use telemetry, I highly recommend you use this switch, which is called a JR charge switch, and that switch has a port in the front where you plug in your voltmeter, the Hanger 9 voltmeter. I'll show you that in the field equipment. And so you don't have to take the wing off to test whether the voltage on your battery is good. You can test it before and after every flight and make sure the voltage on your battery is good. So if you're not using telemetry, be sure to use one of these that you can test the voltage of your battery. Since I am using telemetry, I'm just going to use a simple switch like this and put it right here on the outside. So I'll be back after that's done. Okay, I'm back, and show you another little tip of mine. I think, remember, you saw my little cork here. It has a piece of wire on it. In this case, it's just a paper clip, but any kind of wire will do. And my pot of tea has a candle to keep it warm all morning while I play with my airplane. So I'm going to heat this up, and while I'm heating it up, I'll explain what I'm doing. Where the hole is for the mounting of the switch, just above that on-off switch, there's a hole there, but it's covered up with the covering. So what I just did there was I poked a hole in it just to make sure I knew where it is. Then I'm going to heat this up kind of red hot. And I'll poke it in that hole and run it around the square, and you get a nice square cutout without having to use a knife, and actually the heat helps keep the covering stuck down. So I'm going to get this little paper clip nice and red hot. Stick it in there, and it just sort of melts the covering away and cuts it off. Okay, so just that simple. You get a nice square cutout, and you don't have to worry about ironing that down because it didn't disturb the glue behind it. Let me do one little touch up here. I didn't get one corner exactly right. Okay, so interesting little tip. Okay, as is the case with most switches like this, the off side is the one with the 2 wires, the on side is the one with the 1 wire. So the 2 wires need to be toward the front engine side of the airplane. And so I've taken the cover off, and I'm going to put the switch in position, and it's in the off position, and then I'm going to put the cover on it, okay, so that it's in the right position. And then I'm going to take a 1/16 drill bit and mark where that hole is supposed to be drilled. Okay, so now I've got a, and I dropped that tiny little screw. I'll be back in a minute if I can find the tiny little screw. Okay, lesson learned. When you have tiny little screws like this, don't leave them on the side of the table. Okay. Alright. So I drilled I marked the hole. I'm going to go ahead and drill the hole. just hand drilling. Now a 1/16 should be big enough for that tiny little screw to get through. Okay, let me see. Okay, go to plan B, which is 5/64 drill bit. And don't leave the tiny little screw next to the edge of the table. So I'm just going to open that up to 5/64 because I want that thing to slip easily through. I don't want it to bite into the wood because I want it to hit the where it goes on the switch. So let me get this set up. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got the switch with one screw on, and now I'm going to line this up and drill a pilot hole and mark the other side. That way you know that the other one is right where it should be. Okay, and be right back and show you what's next. Okay, switch is in place, and off is to the front, on is to the back. The faceplate says off and on correctly, and you can see inside here hopefully that the two wires are toward the front of the aircraft and the on wire is to the back of the aircraft. So the reason I'm doing this switch now too is because you're going to use this switch to program and have the telemetry module and the receiver bound together. So that's going to be the next video.